Good morning, YouTube family. Good afternoon and good evening, wherever you might be. It's Thursday, so happy Thursday to you. And this is Happy Crappy Hour, where we're going to talk about what our happies this week have been, I guess, and what our crappies have been. So I'm going to give you guys a couple of seconds here to get on. We're going to have a great chat today because I want to talk about what is it that drew the narcissist to us, and what is it that draws then the narcissist to the new supply and possibly away from us. That has been a big contention for a lot of viewers, where they just don't understand why or how the narcissist was able to move on so quickly, and what happened to their attraction to us, right, or to you. What changed, and why is it that they just don't seem to have any feelings anymore? Anyway, so that's what we're going to talk about today. Hoping to see some of you guys pop on here. My screen for some reason is very foggy. Oh wait, maybe that'll help. Yeah, that might be helpful. Sorry, gonna be setting this up here. And you might see me kind of clean the screen for a second. I thought I cleaned it earlier, but apparently it did not take. All right, that's a little better. Okay, sorry, just trying to reset. Whoops, that's not helpful. I'm sorry about that, you guys. Here we go. You got to see a really great picture of my finger there, or a very blurry picture, really. Hey, you guys. So, yeah, you know what? Let's go ahead and jump in on this. And you guys can tell me how your week went and what your crappies were and what your happies were. And I will tell you about that as well, my happies and crappies this week. My happy actually was that I went on this hike with a girlfriend of mine, and we ran into, well, okay, it's kind of scary, but we ran into a bear, which is crazy. And I may post a picture for you so you can see it. Hey, good morning, John. Good to see you. So yeah, so we were we were hiking, and not a real hard hike or anything, just a casual kind of hike on this trail. And then we stopped. We saw this picnic bench, so you can tell it's not like really deep in the woods or something, right? But there were woods. So there's a picnic table, and we stopped by the stream to have some chocolates. My friend brought some chocolates, and so we're sitting there, and she's on one side of the picnic table, and I'm on the other side, and behind her, I see this big old bear start walking towards us, and it's about, I want to say about 10 yards away, maybe 25 feet away. And I tell her, "Oh my gosh, there's a bear behind you." And she turned around, sees it. She climbs over the table to get on my side of the table. She's like, "I'm coming over there to you." So she gets over to my side of the table, and we're watching this bear. And when she climbed over, that's when I saw right behind her, because she was blocking the view, were two baby bears, two cubs. So it was a mama and two baby cubs. And oh my gosh, luckily right away, they were just sauntering. They were not like running or looking very excitable or anything. They were just kind of moseying through this trail, and they could have continued on the trail, which was right next to the picnic table, and would have come like 2 feet from us. But luckily, they changed direction and went up another area into the woods and off the trail. So right after that happened, we just booked it out of there, you guys. We were pretty scared, but the adrenaline was definitely running. And I got to take a picture, though, because we were on this other side of the table, and while my friend was climbing the table, I was like, oh, fumbling to try to grab my phone and take a picture. So I did get a picture of them, and I will post it for you at some point here. It is insane. Anyway, that was kind of my happy, because it was quite exhilarating, and even though it could have been life-threatening, none of that happened. And it was like the closest I came to such crazy wild nature. So yeah, that was my happy. Good morning, Samaya. And I think I have not seen you before, so I'm so glad to see you. Welcome. Agriculturist, good to see you. And Eye Off the Tiger, good to see you too. And Crystal Jean, hi Crystal. Love having you guys here. So yeah, that was my happy. And when you know what, a friend of mine asked me this, and I'll ask you guys this too. I was having a rough week last week, feeling really insecure. So I'll share that with you guys. YouTube has not been the best encourager for me. It's really sad, but they're not very encouraging. But and maybe, to some creators they are, but not to all creators, of videos. But anyway, I was talking to her and she said, Chris, what do you get life from? What creates life for you? What gives you or fills you? And I was like, I was trying to think of that, and there are a lot of things that I enjoy, but I hadn't really focused on doing things that I enjoy. I was becoming, kind of stressed and burdened, and then and also feeling down, right? But then I was like, yeah, that's what I need to do to recharge, is to go and do the things that recharge me. So that hike, so I started reaching out to friends and letting them know I'm feeling kind of down and I need encouragement. And that's not an easy thing for me to do. It's a very big thing for me to do. I hate to bother people. I hate to be a burden, and that's how I think, I don't want to bother them. And here's the other thing. It's hard to be vulnerable. It's hard to let other people know that you need encouragement or you need to spend time with them, because that makes you vulnerable, and that gives them the opportunity to say, well, I don't have time for you. And that kind of sucks. And here's the thing. What I learned was that when I opened up to my friends, some of them responded right away, some of them did not. I think I opened up to four people, and two of them responded right away, two of them did not. One of them, and two of them started, trying to make plans, like how can we get together? What time's a good time? But it fell through, and they couldn't meet, or I couldn't meet at the times that they could meet, and it was feeling really discouraging to me. So this is kind of my crappy, right, you guys? And then I had to not go to where I usually go, which is a feeling of rejection. I had to fight that so hard and think, okay, you know what? I can't have these expectations that they're going to jump in their car and come rushing over to me, because they have lives and they have work and they have other obligations, but they're making an effort. So I have to look on that, that they reached out. When I texted them and said, hey, I really need some encouragement, you guys, they reached out and they're like, hey, what's going on? You want to meet up? So right there, they made an effort onto that. So we did end up meeting up, and one of the friends, we went on that hike. And that's when I had that incredible, exhilarating experience. And here's the thing, I'll wrap this back around again to the first question, which is, what gives you life? And what I discovered, what gives me life, is nature, going back to nature, going someplace where I can and be close to the woods, close to the trees, to the plants, to streams. I love water. So, if I could be at the beach every day, that's what I would be doing. So, you guys, that's what, yeah, I want you to think about that too for yourselves. What do you do when you're in need? Do you reach out to people? I know it's a very vulnerable time. And if you're feeling really vulnerable, hey, guess what? You know what you can do? Shoot me a comment on what is it? On one of my videos, or probably my latest videos, the one I'm going to most likely see your comment on. And I'll be there to try to encourage you. But I might not be there right away, because I don't check every few minutes or anything like that. But here it is. If you open up to your friends who are close by and you don't feel like they're responding quickly enough, know that you have a community here. The more community you can create, the more safety nets, the more connections you make, the more enjoyable your life is going to be, and the the stronger you're going to become, because you're going to have these connections, you're going to have this support. And your support might not come right away, may not, show up instantaneously. And during that time, you have got to fight off the feeling of rejection. You have to fight off the negative feelings and the negative thoughts and start telling yourself positive things like that you're worthy, that your friends are, they have a life, and it's not appropriate for you to have these grand expectations that they drop everything and come running, but they still do care about you. So focus on that, and make an effort to stay connected to your friends and work out until you can set a date to get together. It could be a phone call that, they also offer that is, well, if I can't get together with you before tomorrow, I can do a phone call later today, and that really was encouraging to me. And I appreciated that. So I just want you guys to know that, yeah, it's scary to reach out to people and let them know you need something, but that's what will help you get out of your depression or your sadness, or when you're on the downswing. Okay, you guys. So, yeah, Crystal Jean says, me too. I hate being a burden. And we have to not see it as that, right? We have to not see that that we're being a burden. We're being real. And the more real you are with your friends, the closer you get to be. They get to see that you're feeling vulnerable. They get to see that you're not always strong and always have the answers, or always are the rock, in the group. And nobody should always be the rock, by the way. The group should be multiple legs, right? That help each other keep. This is a terrible analogy I'm coming up with, but we all have to be pillars that keep the rest of the structure up. And not one pillar can stand on its own, or keep the whole structure up by itself. So we got to think about that. Crystal Jean says, Escape, do you know your Myers-Briggs type? No, I think I did it a while ago and I don't remember what it was. And I just haven't, I haven't been really tempted or feeling the urge to do it again. But I would imagine I'm probably different than when I took it, because I took it over a decade ago. And I kind of wonder if people change, do their Myers-Briggs thing change? Hey, you guys, let me see. We're Measure Twice. Good to see you. Good morning to you. And let me go back up again to the comments. Yeah, so you guys, I do want to talk about the topic today and get to it with before the 15-minute mark, because I have some viewers who want me to get to the point. So I'll respect that. So why is the narcissist attracted to us to begin with? There's probably some kind of spark inside of you that drew the narcissist to you. It might have even been the eye contact that they made with you, when they look over and they see in your eyes and you're locking eyes with them, and you make this interesting kind of connection, right? Whether you intended to or not, but that's what narcissists do. They do tend to stare a little more deeply than other people. And so being the strong person and independent person that you are, you're not going to like look away right away. You're like, okay, what's going on here? Why is this person looking at me so long? And you lock eyes with them, and it's almost like a fishing line with a hook. So once they get you to look at them, now they feel like you're approachable. So once you're approachable, and this is, this happens too with dating and normal pickup, whatever, but with narcissists, it may begin just as simply as that, like a normal type of connection like that we would have with people, right? It's very normal. But what then happens, what then makes them more connected to us or more attracted to us, is that we respond. Our body language, our attention, we're like hooked on every word that they say. We're intrigued. We listen to their stories. We're amazed by their stories. We're encouraging them, like we're wowing them, or they're wowing us, right? We're like, whoa, that's amazing, you did this. So whatever lies they tell us about their accomplishments, we're like, wow. So right away they know that they've got an audience. We become an audience to them. So this attracts them even more to us, like, oh, this person is willing to listen to me. And not only that, this person is showing that they are very susceptible to my lies. So, and most people would be, right? But some people, I guess, when a narcissist lunges into their stories and their lives and their all their accolades, right? Talking about themselves and what they've accomplished. Most people would be like, okay, that's interesting. Now this person is just talking about themselves constantly and I'm getting bored, and they don't have the time for that. So the narcissist, of course, would not be attracted to that person. But to the people who are like, wow, that's amazing, tell me more. Oh yeah, they'll stick around to tell you more. So that's one of the reasons that the narcissist is attracted to us. They kind of put out feelers to see what kind of puppet we will be for them. And the more we believe them, or the more intrigued we are, or the more we hang on to their every word, they start to think this will be a really good puppet. Not just that, but we feed them. We feed their ego with all this attention that we're lavishing on them. All this attention, we're listening, we're paying attention, we're laughing at their stupid jokes or whatever. We're not calling them out on their crudeness. We're not acting like we're disinterested. We're not like acting offended or grossed out or by what they're saying. So they're thinking, oh, okay, this is a good supply. And they become more and more attracted to us. Now, of course, another thing they may be attracted to is obviously you could be really hot, right? You're very good looking. So they're visually drawn to you. And then another thing is once they get to know you a little bit and they see the car you're driving or they see your home or your apartment, they start to go, oh, you're also financially set. Like you're capable, your place looks better than mine. I'd rather be living in your place. So that's another thing that's really attractive to them that might draw them towards you if they are not already financially set. Sometimes they are financially set and they'll use their money to lure you in. They'll use their money to make promises of how secure your life will be if you should move in with them or give up everything and focus only on them. Yeah. So these are the things that they are drawn to or are attracted to you at first, right? But then what attracts them to the new supply? Because they have you. Why would they need new supply, right? Why would they dump you for new supply? Or why would they, within days after leaving you, find somebody new and within weeks are engaged to them? When you had been with them for 2 years and nothing, no commitment, right? Other than moving in together. But then within weeks of finding somebody after you, they're engaged and you're like, what the heck? So this is the cycle. I mentioned it in the description. It depends on the cycle that the narcissist is in, what attracts them. They have a life cycle, right? And they repeat it over and over and over again. Whereas I think most people have small cycles that we go through, ups and downs, that is, but generally we're on an upward trajectory. We continue to improve, we continue to get better, we continue to build deeper relationships, we continue to improve in our careers, and physically too. We continue to improve physically. But narcissists tend to stay within a certain cycle and they're not in a trajectory. They're just kind of flatline and they keep circulating or in the, going in this circular cycle. And so when they're with you, when they first been intrigued by you and they're pulled into you, they're attracted to you, they're all about you because you're the most amazing person ever, because you're giving them the kind of attention maybe they did not get before. You're actually falling for all of their stories, where in their hometown, everybody knows who they are. They don't fall for their crap, right? But you're a new person and you don't know about their past, so you fall for all their stuff. So now you're very intriguing to them. You're very exciting to them. Then, they're kind of on the upswing because they're starting to get their life together, and maybe they have their life together, right, at this point. But after they have been with you, after it could be weeks, it could be months, it could be years, when they start to go on the downswing, it could happen because of your relationship. And what I mean by that is you don't put up with their crap anymore, right? You start calling them on some stuff. So it could be about your relationship, and I'll come back to that. Could also be about something happens to them at work. They get fired from a job. They lose their financial security. They they get a big ticket for like a DUI. They could have gotten caught by the police, and something happens in their life that puts them in somewhat of a tailspin. So now they're on a downward cycle, right? Downward swing. And you may still be with them and you're like, I'm willing to stick through this with you. I'm going to be here. We're going to get your resume out. I'm still working. The bills are still getting paid, but let's, we'll get through this together. But no, these are huge injuries to their self-esteem. So they are not going to be able to even accept your help. I mean, they'll take it, but that can't be everything for them. Like, they can't lean on you and then start improving themselves. They're on this downward swing. Then what they might start looking towards is someone who's going to be able to lift them out of it, like someone who has connections, someone who is more financially well-to-do, right? Someone who is more financially set than you. And they think, like, if I latch onto that person, then my other troubles will go away. Then I'll look successful again. Then I'll have all the trappings of success and what it looks like, and I'll have the image again. So they may leave you to latch onto somebody else who can lift them out of their downward swing. Another thing, which I mentioned earlier, is your relationship. You get to a point where you're done. You're like, okay, not done, but you're calling them on their crap. You're telling them, look, I caught you on this lie again. You have to stop lying to me. And you start putting boundaries and consequences in place, right? Like, the next time you lie to me, I'm going to go back to my parents' house for a week. Or next time you lie to me, we're separating bedrooms for a week. Or, the next time you lie to me, I'm not going to spend time with you because, I want you to understand that this hurts me and I can't spend time with someone who keeps lying to me. Anyway, so you give them consequences, you give them a boundary and a consequence, right? That goes with it. They don't like that. They're like, what? Now you're not hanging on to their every word. You're not excited and bubbly to see them. You don't light up every time they walk into a room anymore. You're not falling for all of their stories anymore. You're actually requiring proof now for their stories, because you're starting to see, like, these stories do not add up. And you're asking them for proof, and that gets them feeling either scared, or they feel backed into a wall, or they get angry and they're like, the heck with this, I don't need to explain anything to you. You have to just believe everything I say. So when they are in this part of their cycle, their downward swing, they may want to latch on to somebody else. They want to find somebody else who's going to hang on to it, their every word, believe all their stories, all of their lies, just like you used to. And they're going to want somebody who's going to light up when they walk into a room, because the narcissist is new to them now, and they don't know about the narcissist's past, just like you didn't know at first, right? And they may latch onto a new supply that you look at and you're like, what? This doesn't even make sense. This new person is, I don't want to get into all the details, but like, this new person is financially wrecked. They're emotionally wrecked. They're addicted to stuff. They're an alcoholic. They're addicted to drugs. They're whatever it might be. They just look terrible. They may be 30, but they look 50. You're like, this person looks horrible. Why would my narcissistic partner dump me to go there? Because, you guys, the new supply gives them the attention and the newness, and doesn't ask questions, and allows them to do what they want to do, and doesn't come against them. Doesn't require them to show proof, or doesn't put any limitations on them. So that, of course, is so attractive to the narcissist. Well, you guys, that's what I wanted to tell you about today for our topic. And let me see here what you guys have been saying. Um, I got to go back a little bit first. You guys, okay, here we go. I see you guys are talking to each other, so that's awesome. Agriculture says, I've been to a business meeting last week with the NARC. Was okay though. Yay! Oh, I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, I remember you saying, you were kind of afraid about all of that. So I hope you put into practice all the things we talked about, which was a little distance. Don't sit right next to him. And let me see. And don't encourage him to talk to you. Like, don't, yeah. Like, keep the conversation very short and dry and answer the question, but then move along. Change the topic or actually walk away and be distracted with somebody else. And don't ever be alone with the narcissist, like in the elevator or at the conference room or at the dinner, where if you guys went out to dinner. So, yeah, I'm glad it worked out. So, so glad. And Mike, good to see you. Crystal says, Agri, oh, you did it and got through it. Yay. Now in future, you'll be okay. Yes. And Measure Twice says, I recommend everyone search up videos YouTube about the link between wheat and depression. Hundreds of videos on the subject, going wheat-free, gluten-free, and now even grain-free. Saved my sanity. Yeah, I think it also has to do with sugar. So, yeah, nutrition is a huge, huge thing, and more people are becoming nutritionally aware, which is great. And I do think that sleep and what we eat and whether we get any exercise, like you got to move your body, you got to get circulation going. The lymphatic system needs to be washed out or kind of moved, stuff moved through it. So I have this thing, it's like a fascia brush. It's almost like a hairbrush, but with really thick, it's not really like a hairbrush, but it's kind of shaped like one. And it's got these thick nodules on it. So I just rub that across my neck and under my arms and across my back. Oh my gosh. All right, I don't get to the back, but the back of my neck. And it feels so good, by the way. It's like a nice little massage, but it moves things through your lymphatic system. You cleanse out all these toxins in your body. That also is a good thing. So I did start doing that again. Samaya says, even though I am from a different culture, but I suffer the same. Yes, our group here is talking about how we're spread out around the world, but what we go through is so similar when we go through these horrible relationships with narcissists. And my latest one was not a romantic relationship with a narcissist. It was a friendship, and I had to think about friendships, really. And in a lot of ways, the narcissist friendships are very much like the narcissist romantic relationships and the narcissistic family relationships or business relationships. They're very damaging to your self-esteem. They're very damaging to your psyche because you think you're going crazy, right? Because when they gaslight you or they blame you for stuff, and you think, wait, am I culpable for that? Am I responsible? Was I wrong? You start questioning yourself, and you lose the ability for a while to believe in yourself, to trust your own instincts, right? I had a friend just yesterday, we met up. This is one of my friends that I had reached out to last week, and she and I did get together, and it was awesome. We had breakfast together, but we got together yesterday for a quick 40-minute lunch because that's all the time we had. So, and she was saying, oh, I'm sorry, I kind of get distracted because we were talking about friendships, and we were saying how lately each of us actually have been thinking about friendships, and I was saying to her that sometimes you have to just close the door on a friendship. You have to just cut people out of your life. It's sad, and we feel sad. We feel, not remorse, but we feel like we're mourning a loss, and you're mourning the loss of a friendship because you would think friendships last forever, but sometimes people are just in your life for a season, right? And sometimes people need to be cut out of your life, just need to be, because they're toxic or they're narcissists, narcissistic, or they're just so self-centered that they don't give you life. They're not trustworthy. You know, once you learn that about a person, you cannot keep them in your life. If they're not trustworthy, ugh. Then what's the relationship? You can't really share anything with them. Now, in a family situation, you might have to still see the person, but you don't have to have an intimate relationship with them. You don't have to tell them what's going on in your life. A viewer actually commented recently about that, saying that they had, or actually a few viewers, talking about their family relationships and how drained they are from their family because they feel like they're the black sheep, and yet the family keeps manipulating them into being the strong one. The family, I think one of them, the parents are, I think one was an alcoholic and another one's a narcissist, and the grandparent is a narcissist. The sister or the brother or the sibling keeps insisting that this viewer who is commenting to stay in contact with the family. This is so important, right? We got to stick together as a family, and they expect you to be the glue for them. And you're like, I've had it. I've had it with this. Oh my gosh. Now, you may not have to be the glue for them. Like if they want to be glued together, they can do that themselves. They can call each other. They can contact one another. They can be the strong one for the other person. Like if someone wants to keep confronting mom about her alcoholism, they can do it. You've done your part. You can't change her. You can't make her. And especially if she's an abusive drunk, you know, why put yourself in that position every time to get abused, to be degraded, to be attacked physically and mentally, right? And verbally. What the heck? So, but it's like almost not just almost, but you are expected because everybody sees you as the strong one. Oh my gosh. Anyway, I just wanted to let you guys know that these relationships with narcissists and being caught up in them, and you feel like I can't escape, I can't cut them out. But even in family situations, you can reduce the contact to the point where they stop pursuing you because you're not sharing with them anything. You no longer give them your opinion. You no longer give them your suggestions because you've given those already. They don't care to follow any of that. So when you do get together for family functions and whatnot, seek out the people you want to spend time with. In the case of one of these viewers, she said, or I'm not sure if it was a woman or a man, but said that they really love their nephew and nieces. So I said, you know, seek the kids out then. Go spend time with the nephews and nieces. Just, you know, keep the conversation with the adults very short, very bland. Don't tell them anything at all that's going on in your life, good or bad. Don't tell them you just got a new job. Don't tell them you're dating somebody new. Don't tell them anything, because whatever you tell them, they will use against you. Oh, so you got a new job, so you're just too good for us now. Is that why we don't hear from you anymore? Or it could be, oh, you're dating somebody now. Oh, that's why we don't ever hear from you again, because this new person is much more important than we are. You know, what the heck with that? It's just insane, the crap that they will try to pour on you to manipulate and control you. And that happens within families. It happens within friendships with a narcissist. It happens within romantic relationships, obviously, right? With the narcissist. So anyway, you guys, let me see what we have here. Oh, I kind of went down. Okay. Agriculture says, I was confident and happy at the time. He even was with us at the bar until late night. After a lot of alcohol, he tried to flirt with me, but I was totally distant and cool. Nice to know. Good experience. Yes, agriculturist, you still got it, woman. All right. Yeah, of course. So good for you. So glad that you were strong. So glad that you stayed cool and distant, because while he was drunk, he was trying to flirt with you. But you know, if you had ended up together the next day, he would have just ignored you. So good for you. Good, good, good. Crystal says, I'm so bad at getting back to people. I've learned it's an INFP thing, but it doesn't reflect my feelings for my friends. My energy fluctuates and sometimes I just can't. Exactly. And that's what I'm saying too, Crystal, is that when you open up yourself to be vulnerable and let your friends know that you need encouragement, or you're feeling down and you need to, could I please, no, actually, I didn't even say that. I just said, hey, you guys, I need encouragement. And the introvert friends are going to feel, they're going to have a harder time getting back to you. They're going to have a harder time reaching out to you because, and everybody has ups and downs themselves, right? And you don't know if your friend is going through a downtime as well, and they may have a hard time reaching back to you. So don't take it personally if they don't get right back to you. Know that they do still care. They just at that moment can't muster what they need to be there for you. Yeah, you guys, that's why it's so important. When at the beginning I was saying it's so important to have many connections and not just one, not just two. I would say a minimum of 3 to 4 would be great. If you have 7 to 10, you're really doing great. But for me, I think I have maybe, I want to say 5 to 6 people that I feel very close to, but I didn't reach out to all 6, right? I only reached out to 4. And if those 4 didn't come through, I probably would have reached out to the other 2. Yeah. So that's why it's important, don't take it personally. Measure Twice says humans need connection in life to survive, but connecting with the wrong people, yep, as we all did in our past, doesn't work. Connect with stable, kind, thoughtful people. Churches are a great start. Yes. I agree with you about that. And I know some people have had bad experiences in churches, but both my probably best and worst experiences have been in churches. But here's the thing. I think the closest connections I've ever had have been with people in a church. I think all of my friends, let me think, all of my very close friends, all of my very, very close friends are, I met in church, in different churches. Like we don't even go to the same churches anymore, but yeah, it's good. Crystal says, Samaya, narcissism is a worldwide epidemic. It's not choosy about culture. Yep. Okay. Now I know I is for introvert. N, I don't remember what N, F, or J. You guys will have to tell me what the other ones are. I forget what they are. Measure Twice says, Samayakon, some cultures have more narcissists than others. Yes, this is so true, Measure Twice. We do our best in our part of the world and try to educate others. Yep. Yeah, some cultures actually encourage narcissism, and sadly right now I think, well, the US is kind of a crazy mix, right? Because we're trying to become more self-aware. We're trying to become more empathic and considerate. But at the same time, for generations, we're also kind of raising narcissistic people by telling them, by not being able to say the word no. I was just watching a TV show the other day where it's called, let me see, what is it called? It's about this Korean family. Oh, Kim's Convenience is what it's called. It's on Netflix. It's hilarious. Gives you an insight to Asian culture. So it's just kind of funny to me. So I love shows like that give you insights into like African American culture or Hispanic culture. And this one gives you an insight. I mean, it's not like, well, actually, it probably is pretty accurate. To tell you the truth, there's a lot within each culture and what's funny within each culture and how parents behave and whatnot. But anyway, in this one episode, they had a mom come in and who was actually, I think they are located in Canada. That's the location of the show, right? But this mom comes in and she's adopted the "my child cannot ever hear the word no" philosophy of parenting. So when her kid starts tearing apart the convenience store and starts, pulling bags of chips off the shelves and stomping on stuff, and the store owner is like, "Hey, that kid, you need to stop your kid." And the mom's like, "Well, he's only 5 years old." Like, what? Yeah, well, a 5-year-old should know the difference between right and wrong. And this is what I'm saying. Sometimes on the Western culture, we've started, I don't know what wave that was, but I did remember hearing about that in parenting books and magazines and articles about the damage you do to a child by telling them no. I'm like, what the heck? No, we have to tell a child no sometimes. And sadly enough, some of these kids have grown up to become these narcissistic adults who don't understand the word no and don't understand how to stop themselves or to stop being a jerk. You raise these kids to become anyway, adult jerks. So just kind of got off on that a little bit, but about cultures, that's what we were saying. Sadly enough, sometimes our cultures are encouraging narcissistic behavior. So we got to get away from that. Johnny's, hey, good morning, Johnny. Johnny says, hello, it's Johnny Winter in San Francisco. Hey, all right, just woke up and I'm dealing with the lunatic narcissist now. Oh man, it's hard. I'm trying to go no contact. Thank you for your videos. You're welcome. So glad to have you here. Yeah, you know what? Trying to go no contact. It is an effort that's going to take a while to perfect. And the more you do it, the stronger you will become at it. It's going to be very tempting to break no contact. It's going to be very tempting for the probably first year, honestly, to break no contact. If you can, it's almost like breaking a bad habit, you guys. You don't want, the narcissist is like breaking a bad habit. If you keep going back to that habit just one more time, just this one little touch or this one little connection or this one little communication, it can pull you back into the full addiction. So be very careful of that. Stay no contact, stay strong. Stay strong, Johnny. Crystal says, my narc attempted eye contact with every attractive female in his presence. Yes. Oh my gosh, right? Because that's their first hook. And if they can catch them with their eyes and you look back and you stay connected by eye contact, you lock eyes for a while, longer than 1 second, they're going to feel like, I might have you on the hook now. And now they start using bigger lures, bigger traps, bigger bait. Right in front. Okay, she says, Crystal says, right in front of me too. I can only imagine how he behaved when I wasn't around. Oh my gosh, Crystal, yes, absolutely. Would have been far more flirty than you expected. Mike says, anyone and everyone can be a narcissist or sociopath or have cluster B personality disorder. Sure does seem that way. I think you're right. Because everybody has some narcissism is what I am reading and understanding from psychologists, because what they're saying is essentially narcissism is just at some point putting yourself before another person, right? And we all do that for self survival, self-preservation. We have to look out for ourselves. Now, it gets out of control when then we don't know where the boundaries are, like where their boundaries are or our boundaries are. We don't know where we stop and they start. And we start putting our expectations on other people, or they start putting expectations on us. And they tear through our boundaries, or that we tear through their boundaries. That's when narcissism becomes worse. And there are, I guess, different levels of narcissism. Yeah. So I think you're right, John. Sorry, Mike. Okay, agriculture says that eye contact thing is creepy and gross. Yeah, now that we know, and when someone tries to do that to us, we're like, ew, and we look away. So you guys, I think it's that very, very sadly, attractive people more and more, I don't know, is fit or attractive or good looking or whatever you want to call it, as they become narcissistic, it's easier for them to catch you, because first of all, we're more trusting as somebody who looks well put together, who's dressed nicely, who's manicured, who has a sharp haircut or whatever, they look like they take care of themselves. They're well groomed. And we tend to just assume, like, because they look this way, they must be safe. And that is not the truth, because a safe person can look disheveled and not well groomed and a very unsafe person, I guess, harmful person, can look the best. You know, I mean, a lot of people said Ted Bundy looked attractive. I didn't think he was, but I can see like he looked kind of clean cut and all that, right? And people trusted him. That's scary as heck. And then, I was watching this video of another YouTuber. I don't remember her name, but she does like beauty type advice, I guess. And she got taken in by a guy who, actually a friend of hers or a mutual work acquaintance, work friend of hers. They do some business together, I guess. Introduced her to this guy and had told her, "Oh, you have to meet this guy. He's just amazing, and you guys would be such a great match." Well, she meets this guy. He total narcissistic, love bombing, lied to her about everything, drove around in his Lamborghini and BMW, and I don't even know what, but um, made her think that he was extremely successful. He was not. First of all, I want to warn people about that. Not that all Lamborghini driving people are unsafe people, but if they feel like they have to flash it, that's fine, whatever. But don't get into a relationship with them just because, you know. Well, anyway, this YouTuber, she didn't just because of his money or look like he had money fall for him. It was that he was attentive. He lavished her with gifts and attention, and he told her sob stories about how he grew up. So he got her empathy and sympathy, and so he was drawing her in emotionally. And here's the deal: he was rocking hot, right? He worked out at the gym all the time, which, by the way, not great, but don't do that. And he just was well manicured. He just looked good. And so, again, she just thought he's trustworthy. Well, you know, looks are very deceiving, and narcissists come in all shapes, sizes, and appearances. Yeah. Oh, let me go back here, you guys, and catch up a few more comments. Agriculture says that, oh yeah, that eye contact thing is creepy and gross. I'm trying to get this to not shake so much. Agriculture, oh, Crystal says, Agri, LOL, that's awesome. We're a good match. My best friend and my psychologist are INFJs. Yeah, you guys have to tell me again what the N, F, and J stands for. I don't know what that is. Measure Twice says, I was attracted to my narcissist ex-husband for no reason other than I wanted a boyfriend. He qualified because he had a pulse. Oh no, Measure Twice. My self-esteem was dreadfully low. I had zero boundaries or common sense. Yep. And sometimes they get in that way. But they're attracted to you because they know you're willing to be their puppet. They can manipulate you all they want, and that's what you did. You were there for them to manipulate because, like you said, you had low self-esteem and zero boundaries or common sense. Yeah, narcissists who are looking for somebody to control. You're like, wonderful. You know, they can use you to fulfill whatever they want. Samaya says, I am Arab and narcissist worst in my culture than any culture. I was wondering, you know, I don't know. In any culture, I've heard from Germans, I've heard from Asians, Japanese, you know, yeah, some cultures that glorify a certain type of person. Yeah, I don't know even how to go into it, but yeah, kind of starts with the family where they almost encourage, what do you call it, favoritism amongst their children. And the cultures don't see any problem at all pitting the kids against each other. Like, what the heck is that crap? I don't get it. Yeah, where you'll have a favorite child, the golden child, and then you'll have your other children that you don't treat as well, and that's expected. And usually it's the oldest, right? That's supposed to be the golden child. However, sometimes it's not the oldest. The oldest becomes the scapegoat for everything and to blame and is responsible for all the parents' shortcomings. And then it's the baby that's the golden child. Anyway, whatever it is, on the culture, it's crazy. Okay, Crystal says, agree, you should check out Frank Jane's YouTube channel. He's a really deep, cool INFJ. Cool. Interesting. And Measure Twice says, Sumaya Khan, many would agree with your statement. If you can move away in the future, most Arab women try to escape, but safety comes first. I will pray for you. Yes. Jihad, good to see you. Says, not only do they stay in their cycle, but they get worse over time. Yes, they do. An agriculturist. Oh, yes, right. Because, at the beginning, I was talking about how we all have cycles, right? We go up and down. We have good days, bad days, or whatever. But generally, we are on an upward trajectory. Narcissists are either just flat or they're on a downward trajectory. They're not, you're right about that. They don't get better, they just get worse and worse. Oh, sorry about the buffering. I'm not quite sure. I'm doing okay here. It's not showing like that I'm disconnecting this time or anything. So I hope you guys are able to see this. Mike says, oh, sorry. Measure Twice says, my family of origin conditioned me to have no self-esteem, and my parents are both narcissists. My entire childhood, it's emotional abandonment. Oh, hold on. Is why I settled for any man. Yes, exactly. Your woundedness will attract the narcissist. And as long as we remain like that, Measure Twice, as long as we don't take care of that abandonment issue, we're going to continue to attract people who will abandon us. So take a look at that. You have to find a way to strengthen yourself and face this fear of abandonment. Realize, like, if everybody left you, if you had absolutely nobody at all, you'd be okay. You'd still be okay. You'd still be able to work. You'd still be able to pay your bills. You'd still be able to go out and do things. You can still go bicycling. You can still go, to breakfast, get yourself a nice coffee. You still could have a life. But nobody is an island, right? So you're going to run into people. Even if you had to start there with absolutely nobody in your life, you actually will start to add people into your life if you continue to live, right? Every day that you live, every week that you live, every month and year, you're going to build connections. It just happens automatically. Now, whether you're able to build healthy connections or harmful connections, that's up to your wounding, up to whether you've addressed your wounding or not. I want to, you guys, before our time is up, I do want to recommend to you, I'm starting this book and I think I'm on chapter 4 now. It's really awesome. I'm loving it. It's also from Cloud and Townsend, who wrote the Boundaries books. They wrote this book called Safe People, SAFE People. It's on my website. We added it to my books that I recommend. So if you go to my website, escapefromcrazytown.com, you will, and then go to the shop menu, you'll see all the books I recommend. You'll see Safe People there. If you order from my website, I get a little, it's called affiliation fee or something, I don't remember, from Amazon. So you'll pay the same amount. You can still use your Amazon money or cards and whatnot. You don't pay any extra or anything like that. Just Amazon thanks me for recommending books from them. So yeah, so what is it? The Safe People is great because they talk about what characteristics are unsafe. Like they start off with that. I think it was in chapter 2 that they give you 11 characteristics of unsafe people. Chapter 3, they give you 9 characteristics of what they do. Interpersonal characteristics, they call it, of unsafe people. Then I think chapter 4 is supposed to be what safe people's characteristics, the characteristics of safe people, what that looks like. Might be chapter 4, might be chapter 5, because I haven't gotten that far yet. I just listened to the unsafe people characteristics. And then in their later chapters, they talk about your characteristics, our characteristics, what makes us vulnerable to choosing unsafe people. Why do we stay with unsafe people? Or what is our characteristic that allows them to affect our life? And are we unsafe? So that's another thing that I think is really important, you guys, is to think about your own responsibility in your life and in your relationships? Are you the one, not just the only one, but do you also cross people's boundaries? Do you have expectations that you should not have of other people? Do you put a burden on them to fulfill your expectations when it's not their burden, it's your own burden? So anyway, I think that Safe People addresses this, and that's in the later chapters. So um, I would really highly recommend that. It's really interesting because when you read it, you're going to be like, oh my gosh, that's what my narcissist did. These are the characteristics of my narcissist. And once you see those characteristics, you're going to be like so much wiser about who you are going to let into your life and the connections you're going to make with people. You're going to choose more wisely, right? So here we go, you guys. Let me see. I'm just gonna go. Oh my gosh, I am really far behind with comments. uh, okay, here we go. Measure Twice says, oh yeah, I already read that. That your family robbed you of your, raised you with no self-esteem and had to deal with childhood emotional abandonment. And we were talking about boundaries or woundings, and what helps us to heal from those woundings and address those woundings is when we're able to address our fears and come clean with those fears and face those fears and not fear those things anymore. Crystal says, Measure Twice. Mine looks really good on the outside, and he was mirroring my warmth, personality, and interest from day one. So I fell in love with a tall, blonde, blue-eyed version of myself. Yep, exactly. Oh my gosh. Mike says, I have the tiger. Most of the time I experience buffering. Oh, during live streams, but not all the time. Oh, okay. Sorry about that. Yeah, today I am not showing any buffering, and I've got a great connection. Measure Twice says, Crystal Genius, many narcs are masters of mirroring behaviors. My mother is an expert at this as well. Like a fine wine, she gets better with time. Now at 80, she's the world's best at mirroring. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Mike Smith, I feel like most of the people I meet are narcs or sociopaths. They always lie, steal, and cheat. Wow. You may want to change the venues that you're visiting. And I don't mean it like to joke at your expense or anything like that, Mike. What I mean is, if you're finding that everybody you're meeting or most people you're meeting are narcissistic, then the population of people that you're involved with or that you circulate within, you might want to change that. You might want to change the scenery. Go do something else. Go, if you're going to go to a bar and expect to find a knight in shining armor, for instance, or a princess, no, I hate that term, by the way, or a wonderful, warm, and let me see, wholesome, I guess, partner, that might not be the best place. I'm not saying that no good person goes to a bar, but I'm just saying that generally the population that goes there, they're kind of looking for a one night stand. They're looking for, and not just at all bars, by the way. If you go to a particular bar where hookups are happening constantly, and that's kind of the culture in that bar is the hookup culture. Hey, you guys, I don't know. Hold on. I've got to figure out how to flip this camera around. There it is. Someone, I'm sorry about that, you guys. Something, and go through some of these. Wow. Mike says that his father admitted to being a sociopathic. Wow. Yeah, because some people are like, I don't know why I can't feel empathy. And if they're even thinking that, it could be that they recognize they've been wounded so much that they don't have that connection with people. It could have happened from an earlier point of their childhood development where the parents didn't give them the connection that they needed, the emotional connection or support that they needed. That can be reversed. That can be fixed. So sometimes people may behave or feel like they can't make connections with people. It's something you need to learn, and they just never learned it because of the parenting that they got or the lack of parenting that they got, right? And some people don't just automatically learn it. So it is something that even later in life, if they get therapy, if they go to a specialist, they can learn and how to have empathy, how to care about other people, how to make connections. And it could be that they want to do this, they just don't know how to do it, and it just doesn't come naturally to them. But in your case, I know you were saying that, I think with your narcissistic parents, it might be that they're not willing and they don't want to change. They don't see the need to change. That's awful. It's really awful. Eye off the Tiger says, my ex-narc was so generous, never greedy. After the discard, he wanted some stuff back that was his true self. So fake. Yep. Metal Gear, good to see you, says, narcissists are masters of manipulation. That's why they fooled so many people. Yep. Jean says, or Crystal Jean says, very entitled and non-grateful. Not so much broken promises, but pulling out of plans at the last minute. Yes. Or not showing up. Yes. That, if you guys had watched my latest video, it was about pretty much that. It was, when a narcissist is a jerk, why are we surprised, right? Mike says, different from the ones I know. My father admitted to being okay, sociopathic. Mike says, so she was similar in ways. Crystal. Oh. Crystal says, mine is a master manipulator and chronic master baiter. Oh, that's terrible. Meaning a baiter, of B-A-I-T, by the way, is how you should spell that. B-A-I-T-E-R, like baiting somebody to come towards you, like the bait you put on a hook is what she means. Sorry if that offended anyone, I just had to. That was funny, Crystal, you got me. Eye off the Tiger says, yes, master manipulators for sure. And oh yeah, Mike says, the narcs and sociopaths I know are addicted to chaos and drama. Absolutely, they are. And gossip. Oh, smearing. So annoying. Really, really is a huge flag for me. Crystal says, it's almost one-sided with her. She treats everyone so badly. She can't even see it though. Watch out if you don't keep up your end of anything with her. So exhausting. Constant walking on eggshells. Yep. Yeah, and Mike says, my sister is nice too, nice to everyone else, but she treats me like crap. Yep, that's what narcissists will do. They'll target one particular person to dump all of their horrible behavior on, and nobody understands, like, why do you not like them? That's the whole mask that they wear for everybody, but you see behind the mask has slipped for you, right? You see them without their mask. And that's why they can't get away with crap with you anymore. And they start to treat you like crap. Jihad says, narcissism is in every culture, and there is a misconception about Arab women being oppressed by narcissistic Arab men, and that most try to escape is false. Oh, really? Yeah, wow. Well, I think, when you watch YouTube, you see a lot of different cultures on there, and some of these Arab women do not look oppressed at all, actually. They're incredibly beautiful. I'll say that. Oh my. Yeah. Crystal says, Mike, oh, I know, it's so fake. She actually believes she's a sweet, kind, humble Christian. She says she's humble all the time. Wow. LOL. Humble people don't need to tell you that they are. No, they do not. Jihad says, oppression comes from both men and women, no doubt. I've seen both men and women get oppressed in the Arab world, so it's not fair to say most Arab women try to escape. Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah, somebody said that earlier in the comments. Samaya says, I live in Yorkshire, England. Mike says, so true, Crystal. If they were really humble, they wouldn't have to prove it to the world, or try to prove it to the world. Yeah. New Earth, good to see you. New Earth for Peace. I really like your handle, by the way. I believe it's a brain virus. I don't know about virus, but it's definitely a connection in the brain, or non-connection, failure of a connection in the brain somewhere. I think so too. Metal Gear says, as empaths, we must be careful the kind of people in our circles always. It protects ourselves from toxic people and narcs. Yes, thank you, Metal Gear. And I'll restate that again. Safe People is the book by Cloud and Townsend. I think it's John Henry Cloud and John Townsend. They're both psychologists. So they wrote the Boundary series, which I love. I've read the first Boundaries book. I've read Boundaries in Marriage, Boundaries in Dating, and now Safe People. They also have another book called, let me think, After Boundaries? Can't remember. It's like it comes with a workbook, so I'm gonna have to order that and see how that is. And that's supposed to, or I think it's like relationships after. Oh, I can't remember. It's the one that comes right after the Boundaries, the first Boundaries book, where they now talk about how to build trust again and how to repair yourself from having your boundaries crushed and being abused. So it should be really good. Crystal says, anyone here in Ontario, Canada? Oh, see, Thomas says, oh wait, no. He says, Metal Gear, yes. I try to stay away from toxicity and can feel bad energy at times from these people. Yes, exactly. Good to see you, by the way, C. Thomas. Yeah, it's like once we are on to them, we can sense the bad vibes. We are much more sensitive to their red flags and the vibe that they give. And I think that will protect us. Anyway, you guys. But if we stay within our woundedness, we don't address our woundedness, we don't address the fears that our woundedness cover up, by the way. Like if you have a fear of abandonment or fear of acceptance, rejection, fear of being good enough, or being not good enough, right? Just low self-esteem. If you have this type of these types of fears, your woundedness will keep you there unless you address those fears and overcome those fears. So a good place to start is boundaries, honestly, and that's why I keep pushing these boundaries books, and people are going to get tired of me pushing them. But I think that they really help you. They give you tools to work through creating boundaries. They give you examples in real life from real clients or real friends that they have, and their own experience of having poor boundaries themselves, right? Or insecurities themselves, and how they work through it. So I think that's really great. It gives you hands-on tools to use in your own life to heal from your woundedness and to create good boundaries. And they always say that boundaries also need consequences. You can't just tell somebody, don't do this. Well, what's going to happen when they do it? There's no consequence to it. They're going to keep doing it. So, yeah. Metal Gear says, see, Thomas, the narc can change their word in a heartbeat. Yeah, because their word doesn't mean anything. Their promises mean nothing. You guys, it's been really wonderful talking with you. I'm going to catch up with a couple of more comments and we'll have to say goodbye for today. But we will talk again next week. If you guys would do me a favor, I love it. I love that you're here. I love that, I want to thank you, by the way, for contributions that you've made. I would suggest, though, if you want to contribute to my channel, which some people have, and I was like, wow. By the way, that is one of my happies, is that people started contributing on my website. So I appreciate that. I would appreciate if you would contribute through my website, where I have a donate button. It's this under-caffeinated dog. He's like passed out tired on the step. It's really cute. But if you click on him, you can donate to PayPal to my channel to support me. And the reason I suggest you go through the website is because YouTube takes 40% of everything we make. So if you contribute, directly to my channel through YouTube, like say you give me $10, YouTube takes 40 cents of that. I'm sorry, $4 of that, and I get $6. So, they already make a ton of money through advertising that they get to put on the channel, whether you guys watch it or not. I don't get to see a dime of that unless you guys watch 30 seconds, I guess, at least, of the channel, of the advertising, I mean. And unless they run the kind of advertising that you can't skip, of course. But you guys, I really hope to keep doing this, but my time might be running short on doing this. But I'll keep trying to do this as long as I can. Blessings to all of you. I care about all of you guys. I pray for you guys. And I wish you much joy this week and a lot of healing and wholeness. I want you to get onto this other side and just be so free and happy and so aware that you're just amazed at yourself that you didn't see this before, right? You're going to be so wonderfully amazing and strong, and you're going to have beautiful things coming into your life. And that's what I wish for you. So many, many blessings, and I will see you soon. I'll see you next week.